Hey, you know what? I would really like to talk about Alfred Hitchcock movies. I just haven't decided yet how I want to go about it. Do I hopelessly try to organize them according to the order that I like them and then talk about them that way? Or can I just talk about them willy-nilly? Would anyone mind? Fortunately, whether I end up doing that or not, the first three are easy because I know what are my top three Alfred Hitchcock movies. What? Yeah, I know, this is really different for indecisive me. Everything after that, fourth, fifth, and so on, it gets pretty complicated, but I can do this. Now, my number one spot is tied, but I cheated by having a black and white number one and a color number one. Loopholes. Woohoo! My favorite black and white Hitchcock movie is Shadow of a Doubt from 1943, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, of course, and starring Teresa Wright and Joseph Cotten. There might be spoilers in this video. I'm trying not to give anything away, but where do you draw the line? In this thriller, Teresa Wright plays young Charlie, a regular girl from a regular family living in a regular city, suffering from serious boredom. She feels there must be more than this provincial life and decides that the best way to get them out of this rut is to invite her beloved namesake and Uncle Charlie, played by Joseph Cotten, to come for a visit. He understands her like no one else in this humdrum world, so well in fact that he's actually on his way before she even sends the invitation. Everything's gonna be hunky-dory now, except that it isn't, because Uncle Charlie says and does some things that are a little bit strange. And when a couple of men come to town tracking down the Merry Widow murderer, young Charlie is forced to put pieces together. Everything she thought she knew about her uncle begins to crumble as her doubts turn into deadly realities. My favorite thing about this movie is the leads. Young Charlie is very different from the typical Hitchcock leading lady. For one thing, she's a brunette and not a blonde, but she's also not glamorous or icy or sensual at all, so I feel like that makes her more accessible than a lot of his other female leads, at least for me. She's young, trying to find her place in the world and trying not to sound naive, but she's also smart and strong, and daring. And the burden of unwanted secrets forces her to grow up very quickly. And then there's Uncle Charlie. Joseph Cotten is just so... I already mentioned how much I love this movie, and him in it, in my review of Joseph Cotten's autobiography, but I don't mind talking about him again. He is so perfectly charming and sinister in this movie, and he's one of those bad guys that you don't really want to admit that you have a thing for him, lest people think that you're kind of weird. Unless, of course, you decide to tell the whole internet. Right up to the end, I think we're supposed to be a little bit conflicted about him, because we do like him, even though we're pretty sure he's a monster. I love the relationship between the two Charlies. Hitchcock very cleverly weaves a kinship between the two of them, and then completely rips it apart and replaces it with antagonism. Now, as far as that relationship goes, I do want to say it can come off as a little bit weirdly close. I don't know if Hitchcock did that intentionally, but, I wouldn't put it past him. It's especially bizarre if you then see The Steel Trap from 1950 or 1952. The same two people star in that movie, and they are a married couple, and so it's weird because you're just like, hey, that's your uncle! That's a good movie, by the way, The Steel Trap. It's not a Hitchcock movie, but it is a tense, suspenseful story about a man who works at a bank and decides to rob it and then has a crisis of conscience. But anyway, where was I? I don't think that we're supposed to think that there's anything untoward going on. Uncle Charlie just wants to spoil his favorite niece, and she just wants to show him off to all of her friends, and she's really proud of him and idolizes him. It's that closeness between them that makes everything that happens so upsetting for her. It's not just like, oh, hey, I think my uncle might have murdered someone, although you probably wouldn't react like that. But this goes to an even deeper level of betrayal and devastation. There's more that I love about the movie, though. I love the supporting characters. There's Jack, the very honest, very unromantic, but actually kind of romantic policeman. The members of the family, they are... The mother is so... She's silly and sentimental, but so homey, and the father, who is absent-minded and kind of dull, and doesn't want to be impressed by his wife's little brother, but also doesn't mind bragging about him a little bit. And then there's the two little siblings, and then there's Herb, the family friend. I love the morbidly hilarious conversations between him and Charlie's father about how they would kill each other and get away with it. I don't know what that says about me. Cinematically, this film delves kind of into film noir. There's a lot of use of shadows and smoke and lighting, and really highlights the moral ambiguity. A large part of the script, if not the majority, was written by Thornton Wilder, which makes sense considering the whole provincial feel of it. But then Uncle Charlie has some really great chilling speeches. The World is a Foul Sty, that one, and the Faded Fat Greedy Women one. Ooh, they are just eerie. And Hitchcock focuses on nonverbal communicating in a lot of key places. I always love that. The look that communicates a rapid series of emotions with no need for dialogue. You just look at the face and you see every thought that's going on. I don't know why exactly I get really excited about that, but I do. So those are some of my thoughts on Shadow of a Doubt. I love this movie. I cannot recommend it enough to fans of old movies, fans of Hitchcock, fans of Joseph Cotten, fans of Teresa Wright. Supposedly, this is Hitchcock's favorite of his movies. I didn't know that when I decided it was my favorite. If you love it, please leave a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!